Thank you for having me, Foster. Can you hear me okay?
We can.
Good. Well, I think it really was all by accident that this started when I had seen Dr. Bradstreet found dead, and that hit the news and mainstream, and I think they really vilified him, and I felt that another side needed to be shown, and I wrote that article never knowing then that we would lose so many more in this small holistic community of doctors. It's really not, so many of them know each other or know of each other, and so it just, like I call it the unintended series, because unfortunately we just kept losing more and more, including friends who we knew, some close.
Right.
And I just felt like I needed to get the word out, even though people said you can't write about this, or you got even some people in our own community that were opposed to that, just felt that it shouldn't be talked about, and it did need to be talked about. So.
Well, great. Well, thank you for your courage and all of your work on this, and your support of the families, and for taking the time to come on today. So, Joseph, I know this isn't your usual particular area, but I really appreciate your support of Erin, and you're taking the time to come on. So why don't you come on and express a little bit what your interest is in this?
Well, I've been a big fan of Thrive and your work for quite a while, and especially your work in free energy. So I just thought it would be an interesting opportunity to connect with you and your network. And also like to support Erin and her work, and just really add anything I can from my perspective. But really, most of this work has been done by Erin.
Well, great. We can't see your image yet, so if you can click on your webcam.
Yes. Let's see, where is my webcam?
We don't want to miss your handsome face during this conversation.
Should be to the right of your name.
I left it. Oh, okay, I see it. There we go. All right. Is that right?
Okay, great. There he is.
Yeah.
All right. Well, happy Valentine's Day to both of you, or weekend anyway. So, Erin, why don't you go ahead and bring us up to speed? I think most people have read some about this, but give us an overview. There's so many cases now, we don't have time to go into the details of them, but if you could give us an overview and just highlight a few of the representative cases to give us a sense, and there'll be some people on the call who are not familiar with this topic yet, give us a sense of the personal stories of what's going on and some of the themes that are involved, that are emerging in common to these individual tragedies.
Well, it really did start with Dr. Jeff Bradstreet, a medical doctor who was found dead June 19th of last year, so I don't even think that's 9 months ago. And I think we might have a picture of him here. And this photo is important, even though it's a little blurry, because that's him on the right, but that was his colleague who lived here locally, like a bike ride away from where I am right now. And here's another photo of him. But that first photo that they had is Paige Adams, and she was the only one I've kind of included her in the series. She's the only one who's not a doctor of some sort, whether MD or DO, DC, but she was a board-certified nurse practitioner, young, and also found dead, again, just here local in our local community, and here in Florida, maybe 10 days ago or so.
Wow.
And they worked together, and that's taken kind of I think a still shot of a video they were about to do professionally, where he was introducing Paige Adams and explaining how she'd been a colleague for many years and they'd worked together. So she's the last one in our series, so to speak, and Dr. Bradstreet would be the first. And then, we have many in between, but like you said, so many, it would take too much time, but we could highlight a few, so we could go on to maybe another picture and there's another one of Dr. Bradstreet, who I never had the fortune of meeting, but he was such a happy person. From watching now so many of his interviews, he really had this, I think, and I know his family can say much better, but just I loved his dry sense of humor and no history of depression, and just a very likable person, really.
And why don't you just describe what happened to Jeff, because it's so representative of what we're facing here.
Yes, sure. Well, he had his office raided, and the Bradstreets can fill any of this in here, but just from what I understand, he had his office raided several days before, by the FDA, which other doctors have gone through that same type of thing, and even Joe dealing with the feds. And so they did not arrest him. They did not charge him with anything. And but it may be that they were looking for GCMAF, which we can get into later, but we don't know. But there was no arrest made, nothing. So then after that, understandably, he wanted a little vacation. So he and his wife went. They had been here in Melbourne, Florida, but then now he was practicing outside Atlanta. So they went just north of there to North Carolina to get away for the weekend, the holiday weekend, and have a relaxing time. And his room wasn't ready. He tried to check in at this small inn, probably a place where he could get away and just be away from everyone. So he went to the store and got some hummus and, just off the top of my head, Perrier, and I think a bottle of wine for them to enjoy. And then I guess as the official story, they're trying to say, but the investigation has not been complete, and the Bradstreets, if they feel like, can elaborate on this. On his way back to the hotel to meet his wife, decided to pull over on the side of the road and take his own life in a river and shoot himself in the chest somehow in the water, and was found dead. So that's what they would like to say.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so it's that's kind of what mainstream immediately put out there without an investigation being complete, which I think is irresponsible, because the case is not closed, and there are many experts who do not feel that he not only didn't he take his life, but it would have been impossible for him to do so in the manner in which they state.
Yeah, it just makes no sense at all, obviously.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Let's go on to some of the others.
Excuse me. Hi. I'm wondering, could you just describe for anybody the gist of what he was doing?
Oh, well, yes. We spoke, Dr. Mercola and I spoke at a local event, and one of his patients came with their child. This is a great example because we're in Florida, so he used to practice for some time in Melbourne, and she came with her child who was a nonverbal, had autism, did have autism, and was low functioning. And I don't know if she specifically said that he had used GCMAF, which used to be legal here in the United States, but she brought the child who they have videos of, wasn't able to talk, speak, make eye contact, and he was fine, and asking her when they were going to go eat inside. So she said he changed. I didn't think I'd get emotional 2 minutes in, but she just said he changed her life, and that, I mean, he changed her child's life and her life, and that this child went from being nonverbal and just sitting there asking her like when they're going to eat, and that she owed him so much, and that's why she wanted to drive a couple hours to meet us, and just because to tell us about what he had done for her, but what in his practice is he helped children who were autistic and put them into remission. He would never use the words, from what I understand, to cure them or to, but he would put them into remission. And I have met now in person at least that family, and which was just such confirmation for me, but also talk with countless others who write every day about what he did especially for their children, working with autism and cancer, but primarily autism. And he still has an autistic son who has autism. So it was very near and dear to his heart to help these children, and helped a lot of lives. So,
yeah. Thank you. Let's go on to some of the others. Okay.
Yes, we can go to the next photo. So then within 48 hours on Father's Day, Bruce Hedendahl here in Florida was found dead in his car. As you can see here, he was probably the oldest out of all the doctors, but he was in amazing shape. So he had been in an event that day, and I don't remember, I've spoken to loved ones and of his that are very close to him. I don't know if it was an actual competition or just like where they're doing like the disc throwing. It was a practice or competition, but he was in great health. He not only was a chiropractor, but had a PhD from Harvard in nutrition. And also I have patients writing all the time who say they go in with this stage or that stage cancer, and that he was able to put them into remission. And he just kind of, not that all chiropractors aren't extraordinary, but he was just really extraordinary. So,
Mm.
and he was just, yeah, a wonderful, lovable person. From getting to know some of the people who knew him well, I just wish I would have had the opportunity to meet him. I've listened to his shows now on, it's because he also had a radio show that was very popular. All of these doctors were extraordinary, but especially these guys. And again, we don't really know what happened, but this happened 2 days after I found out about Dr. Bradstreet. So on Father's Day, I had a friend who worked there doing thermography in his office, and she notified me that he died, and we won't go into there's so many. Another doctor that also in Florida was found dead just hours away from him at only 33 years old. So yeah. It's just really endless and hard to believe that mainstream hasn't covered this. But yeah, that was Dr. Bruce Hedendahl, who would have been in his 60s and in great health up until he suddenly died.
Yeah, that is not the look of somebody who doesn't want to live.
I know. Oh, yeah. He was all about living. From what I've got to hear from those very close to him who were in his personal life, and yeah, he's just amazing. And even listening to his show, yeah, it's inspiring.
Okay, next one.
Yes, would be. So yeah, we had several in between here, and I think again we had so many who died on the same day. So like Dr. Hedendahl, having Dr. Baron Holt die on the same day, we also had Dr. Nick Gonzalez, who was well loved, and another Dr. Abdul Kamir, found dead both on the same day, both on the East Coast. And Dr. Gonzalez was a best-selling author. He was, Dr. Mercola had interviewed him numerous times, and he was also helping patients like the two others with cancer. And we did not attend the funeral in New York and in New York City, but the church was packed. They say even Suzanne Summers said this in a video that she did with people that had like stage 4 pancreatic cancer and were going to die. And now 20 years later, they're like, here I am, thanks to Dr. Gonzalez. He was also Suzanne Summers' personal doctor. And just again, I've had the honor to meet his wife, was just an amazing, extraordinary doctor who was saving lives and getting people better, putting people into remission, and well known for his work too. So
this is actually how I heard about this whole thing to begin with, because one of the breakthrough healers that we work in our Thrive Connect initiative was very close with Dr. Gonzalez, and he was the one who told me, hey, did you hear what happened to Nick? And that's when I ran across your stories that this was happening to not only to him but to others, and yet just the amazing gratitude of so many people in the networks that these people were not only healing specifically, but they were bringing out truths that were changing how we relate to vaccines, how we relate to autism, how we relate to cancer.
Oh, yes, definitely, with all of them, not even just the ones we're mentioning. They were also vocal about that. And I might add that in his very last interview, which is now on YouTube, Joe and I didn't do it, but someone else did, he did say that he had heard that they wanted him dead. He said that several times, and if he's hit by a bus or he said hit by a truck, he used both those euphemisms because he essentially said in the interview, unless they take me out or until, they would like to, I hear they would like to not have me alive, and until I'm hit by a bus or taken out, kind of thing. He said that straight out in the video, and he was just extraordinary. It's another point, but I can't remember. But it's a shame. It's just really a shame to have lost.
Yeah, and we'll get in just a minute. We'll get to the implications and what we can try to do to help this from happening in the future. But let's visit a few more of the cases.
And